Welcome back, everybody, to round 2 of 4. Wow.
This looks like a nice one.
This is pretty interesting.
Yeah?
We've got Scott Hickman on Lantern Control versus Logan Herbers on Mono Green Belcher. Nope, Storm.
Storm. Okay. Can handle Storm.
Can't handle Mono Green Belcher. Where did Mono Green Belcher come from? Is somebody playing Belcher?
Is it Mono Black Belcher?
Is that a deck?
I don't listen, it's modern, man. You can play whatever, whatever lights your fire in this format. What a start from this Lantern deck. Bobble, Mox, and an Island. And here's a Looting. This is certainly not like a standardized Storm card.
Absolutely not, but I don't mind it. It's pretty sweet.
I don't hate it.
Being able to fill the yard up for the eventual Past in Flames is pretty cool.
Yep.
Yepperino. The Lantern player looks like missed a second land drop. Yikes.
That's not where you want to be. These Lantern decks are hard to play. They're very specific.
Yeah, but you don't keep one-landers.
Sure.
I can see keeping a one-lander if you had enough to turn that Mox Opal on, but you don't. I don't even think he has another artifact in hand.
Alright, here is a Lantern.
So now the Opal is live.
Alright, so he sees Manamorphose for his opponent and Botanical Sanctum for himself.
Probably wants to keep that Botanical Sanctum.
Here's a Thought Seize. This card's important here. Probably take the Electromancer, as the rest of the cards are fairly redundant.
I might have taken the Opt, and here's why. The Lantern control deck is all about manipulating the top of your opponent's library, and the Storm deck is all about getting a critical mass of cards with one Storm finish or a way to fetch it.
Right.
With what's in his hand, he's got a lot of rituals.
He's got a Past in Flames in the bin already.
Right. He just needs... Sorry, he just needs the... What is going on here?
He Manamorphosed into 2 blue, and so now he's rolling through them as many cards as he can.
Casting a bunch of cards on top. He needs to reveal the top card of his library.
Yep. Alright, another Faithless Looting.
By controlling the way that Logan can manipulate the top card of his library, you can really limit what he can do.
Yeah, you can lock him out, kind of.
Yeah, in terms of being able to actually go off.
Here's an Ensnaring Bridge. It's probably pretty inconsequential.
Yeah.
Adds an artifact to the board.
I think that's what's relevant. I think he has 2 Wear of Inventions. Wear of Inventions? Gets a Baral off of that one. He does have to reveal the top card of his library.
That's alright. He's gonna he gets to look at it. See, it's to his advantage here to reveal the card, because now he can find out what's going on up there.
Yeah.
And make a better decision. So when you have an effect like that on the board, it just is that way all the time. It's not like a trigger that reveals the top card of his library.
Correct.
So it's gonna
always on.
What's gonna happen is that Looting is gonna resolve the Faithless Looting, and then he's gonna get priority again.
So when he does this, we have to reveal here.
Yeah, it's hard to get used to. You kind of have to
I agree. It's easier when you're playing that deck or the deck with that effect. But when your opponent does it, like, it's not on the forefront of your mind. I say that as he doesn't reveal the top card of his library. Running out another bridge, also inconsequential.
Yep.
Alright, so let's see if Logan goes for it here.
Let's find out what's going to happen.
I don't see a way to actually go for it. He's got a bunch of rituals in hand right now. So he could technically throw out a bunch of rituals and then Manamorphose and some more rituals and Past in Flames, but don't think he needs to go for it here, so I wouldn't.
Right.
I mean, so Scott might be able to Whir of Invention for like an Orbs of Warding or a Witchbane Orb. Something like that as a weird one of. So, I mean, I guess you kind of have to play around that.
Right.
But at the same time, you're not under any real pressure here. So at this point, he could very realistically not go off.
Yes.
Really sloppily going off.
Yeah.
This is a major pet peeve of mine with the Storm deck. Like, you have to be so crisp because your entire deck and most decks' ways of fighting your deck is on the stack.
Yes, here's a Manamorphose. If I'm Scott here, I would Lantern him in response.
Well, he has a million cantrips in the yard.
Oh, does he?
Fire off.
Yeah.
Man, hits the grape shot off of the opt.
Yeah, so he's at 18. The Storm counts at 10. So we get to see that card before he draws it. Well, he has... Oh, man, this is just really... It's not... So it's not the end of the world if you take a few minutes here to go off, because the game's either going to end or you're going to...
Pyromancer's Ascension. I like that card a lot. Kind of fell out of favor just because the Gift Storms decks are so consistent, but
right.
It is a fun card.
Alright, so Pyromancer's Ascension's pretty nice here. And so he's got a blue left, so this sleight of hand is going to...
Here's a Pyromancer's. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that has the same name as a card in your graveyard, you can put a quest counter on it. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, while it has 2 or more quest counters on it, you can copy that spell. Great with the amount of cantrips during this Storm deck.
And so he's going to generate extra mana here because the Ascension's going to...
Right, so he gets to draw 2 and create 4 mana for 1.
So he's going to draw 1. See, he's going to... No.
What?
He should have drawn 1, and then Scott gets to respond to the second draw. He's really just going off too quickly here for Scott to...
Well, Scott knows he has the
Well, no, he just drew a Past in Flames that Scott could have milled,
Yeah,
which
I don't
matters.
think Scott wants to mill the Past in Flames. He already knows he has the Grape Shot in hand, and he's up to a storm count of 17. So all he has to do is cast the Grape Shot at this point.
Yeah.
But whatever. The old Sloppy Storm. So note to Storm players out there, in your head, because, I mean, if you practice Storm, you're basically just goldfishing.
Right.
Through a bunch of different scenarios, and then you practice, like, post-mortem matchups to play around different things. But you have to keep it slow and concise. Not slow for the point of being slow, but slow for the point of being clear and clean.
Yes.
Don't be like Logan. I'm sure Logan's a cool guy and things that are not portraying Storm on camera, but in this one instance, bad Logan.
Yeah, I mean,
You could do better than that, man.
it's one of those things that as you're goldfishing it, like all that stuff happens in your head like very rapidly.
Oh yeah.
And so you don't want to slow it. Like
Rapido.
it's can be difficult to slow it down in real time because you lose track of where you are.
Right. That's why you have to be clean
Right.
and clear.
And clear and concise.
You know who plays
All the
Storm that
C's.
is very clean?
Ben Ball.
Jake Valentine is very precise in the way he plays Storm.
Is he?
Yes.
Oh, well. Shout out Jake Valentine.
Yeah, shout out Jake Valentine. You know what?
Thanks for the
He doesn't get enough shout outs.
clean Storm play.
But now he just got one, so he's gotten too many. And we're going to go back to talking about this matchup. Scott Hickman. What a guy. How's he going to sideboard here? What do you think?
So he probably has chalices in the board.
Probably has chalices, relics.
Yeah, lots of action here. The Lantern control deck is, if you're not careful, it is a quagmire of interaction that is difficult to wade your way through.
Correct.
The Lantern itself is a very hard card to interact with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously you can like destroy it or whatever, but it's like a hard card to like wrap your mind around when they're going to respond to what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that being the cornerstone of the deck makes the rest of the deck just very hard to work with.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's a huge... I mean, it's not a widely played deck. It's not, I mean, not as wide as something like Affinity or Tron. So it's very hard to practice against it. And they gain percentage points because of that.
How do you feel about these ensnaring bridges in the main? Rather, post-board, do you think they stay in or come out?
Probably not. They probably come out. In order for it to be super effective against Storm, you'd have to have no cards in hand because their back door for you is Empty the Warrens.
Right.
So you probably keep the ensnaring bridges out. And I might bring in... I think they run engineered explosives as well, which with Pyromancer...
Storm or
the Storm.
Most Storm's decks don't.
Or Lantern decks. I'm sorry. Lantern decks run engineered explosives.
Do they? I think they run them as a one-of. And builds that have, like, an Academy runes.
Yeah. But, like, that card with,
Here's a good reason to run
Pyromancer's Ascension.
Man, Storm with the Leyline. That's a turn 0 play that I did not expect out of this Storm deck.
Alright, here's Botanical Sanctum.
Get some mana.
So, let's see. Lantern of Insight target the player.
For what? He'll still have to play with the top card of his library revealed. Lantern shuffles. Ghoulcaller's Bell mills both players. And then Pixis targets.
Yeah, so I think Ghoul Caller's Bell is the one that they don't play Pixis anymore, do they?
It's usually a one of, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't think either of these builds are standard. And don't say because they're modern, please. I have seen too many of the what's a computer commercials.
Oh my gosh.
To deal with any wordplay at the moment.
No, I mean that little girl needs
some good old fashioned corporal punishment.
I'm not for hitting kids.
But that child.
I would tell her once.
You get one.
You
get one, kid.
Oh my goodness.
You get one. You get
one. I would tell her one time, like, listen, if you know what I mean, answer the damn question. And after that,
it's on.
After that, I'd slap her in her little sassy mouth.
Oh, wow. Okay. Reveal a lantern off the top of lantern.
Yep. Here we go. Taking 2 here, and we have an Ascension. So the Ascension used to be the way that this Storm deck went off.
Oh yeah.
It used to be the cornerstone, but when they printed Baral, it really changed the whole build because Baral gave them a critical mass of cost-reducing creatures, and that allowed all your rituals to become true rituals, and that the rest is history. Pithy Needle naming Scalding Tarn. So you could choose what else could you pick?
Not a lot of great choices.
You could pick Past in Flames as the flashback is an activated ability, I believe.
I believe it's an alternate cost.
Yeah, it's an alternate cost. Yeah, not an amazing choice there. Question is, does this leyline just keep Lantern so far out of the game that he's not going to get to play?
I don't think Lantern, it affects Lantern at all. Like the card Lantern or the deck Lantern?
The deck Lantern.
Well, so Scott definitely wants to shuffle this Inquisition away. Don't draw that card. Don't draw. Oh, you drew the card, Scott.
Here's a Codex Shredder.
Codex Shredder's a good one.
This is a good draw.
Oh, Scott with a Surgical in hand. That's a pretty nice one.
Okay, so Codex Shredder does target a player.
Yeah, but you could target yourself.
But yes, I agree that this is the way you would play this is get the draws that you need. And if you can control your own draw step...
I think he has another Mox in hand. I'm not sure why he didn't play it here.
Just play it. And that way you get a free...
You get to save yourself 2 damage from this Surgical if you need to use it this turn.
Yeah, so he should have Surgical to opt there.
So I don't think you can Surgical in response. I'd have to see how... Well, I have Pyromancers right here. Whenever you cast, if it has the same name as a card in your graveyard, Pithing Needle is naming Scalding Tarn.
Yes, Scalding Tarn. Alright, so now all of his deck manipulation spells get cast thrice. And all of his rituals get cast thrice. And it's just going to be Bedlam.
Bedlam.
I mean, there's so much good... I would just go for it here no matter what. Like, you've got a Sleight of Hand and a Manamorphose in hand. So that's going to look at somewhere on the order of 12 cards. So I would just cast the sleight of hand first and see how many...
9 cards, right?
Well, yeah, it's 2 cards per. Or the sleight of hand is going to get you 6 cards.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Manamorphose is going to get you 3. So you're right, 9.
But yeah, I would 100% go for it here.
I would burn 1 ritual. Alright. Yep, get the ritual again.
Putting the ritual down, you might have just too many rituals.
He just wants to get a land drop, I think. Well, here's an opt. Okay, so the opt is important because the opt is going to let you look at up to 6 more cards to find your...
We need to reveal this top card before we start doing stuff.
Yeah, with this Path in Flames, it's just going to be silly.
Yeah, we can basically draw our entire deck at this point. If you're Scott, you probably just concede here. I don't know what Scott's game plan was post-board, but it definitely should not have involved in Snaring Bridges and Pithing Needles.
Right.
He might not have
Chalices,
just because Chalice is a very expensive Magic card.
So here's an interesting thing going on here. Logan has some interesting calculus because he has Desperate Rituals that he can splice onto each other. So he gets to do that for 3 Desperate Rituals times 3.
He is up to 38 red mana at the moment.
2 Desperate Rituals times 3, and then 1 Desperate Ritual times 3.
I think he just burned them all. I think he just decided he doesn't want to spend the mana. Don't say I believe when you're telling your opponent the storm count. He gets to draw 3 cards off this Manamorphose.
Yep. So he should have gotten all blue mana off his 3 Manamorphoses, which I think he did.
Interesting.
Alright, so now he's going to get the cast. Yeah, they've, I guess they've stipulated that they're not going to keep track of the red mana anymore.
Which is fair. He has enough red mana to cast every spell in this deck. And most of those spells produce red mana, so...
Sure.
That's a fine shortcut.
So he's... Alright, so we're just going to need to cast these until we find a... What's the name of that card? The blue wizard he just played?
Baral?
Some people have been saying barrel, which is a different word in the English language that's not spelled that way.
Do a barrel, man.
Yeah, so I just can't get on board with calling a card something when you know what I mean? You follow me?
Yeah.
When it's a different word.
Sort of sliding. All right. Logan gives it to him. He was tired of watching the slop fest continue. That one wasn't as bad.
No, not nearly as sloppy.
I mean, it was very sloppy, but it had reason to be sloppy.
Right. Well, that was a lot faster than I thought it was going to be when we picked this match.
Really?
Yeah, I thought the Lantern deck might put a hurting on it, and the Storm deck would have to play carefully and navigate its way through a minefield of
There are
controlling artifacts.
few cards in the Lantern deck that interact with this. There are way too many deck cards in the Lantern deck. And for those to still be in the deck in Game 2 means something's going on that you really don't want to be going on, and that is you're not being able to sideboard appropriately, or you didn't understand what was going on the first game.
Right.
Either way.
We got about 25 minutes. We're going to go take a little break, hang out. We're going to be back.
We will be back. See you soon.